One day, the first time I took it, I started throwing up. My body kind of rejected it. But after the throw up, you get this that it's almost as if like it was the first time I got. You take another one, body rejects it again. And then come to find out, that's how I got introduced through counterfeit pills. My name is Pretty Brandao. Today, I like to think of myself of the poster child for recovery, almost. The same way that an artist can make substance use look appealing, I like to be the guy that makes recovery look appealing. I'm also intensive group therapy facilitator. I don't do it as much anymore because life has gotten super busy for me. I own sober living homes, and I go back into the same community that I once poisoned with the lifestyle I lived and pull people out of there, because I believe in order for a person to change, one must change its surrounding and an environment. The first time I ever took my first, I have a brother that passed away at the age of 1. It loosened me up. It gave me confidence. It made me more sociable, I like to say. That was my first introduction to any substance ever. My brother passed, I think, when I was 16. Back then, the television was super big, and we had just moved into this apartment. We had no sofa at the time because we were still waiting for it to be delivered. So we just had comforters on the floor, and he had just learned to walk, and he was walking playing with a cable wire. And then he got to the TV. He started like holding on to the thing that the TV was on top of, and the TV ended up coming down, hitting his chest, and the cable box hit his head. I called the ambulance, and they stayed outside with him in the ambulance for like an hour. I didn't understand it. And then rushed to the hospital. He went into surgery. At the time, I had just moved from New York, so I was a man of a lot of faith. And I was just telling myself, this is just God putting me, testing my faith. You know, that's how the Christian speaks. And the hospital had chapels. I would go downstairs and pray and fast. By law, they couldn't remove him off of life support. And the doctor came to me and basically noticed that I was more stronger in the family, because Cape Verdeans, we support one another so much that they reserved a whole floor for all the visitors that we was getting from family and friends. They basically told me that my brother's a vegetable, but by law they cannot. And the family, we all made the decision to unplug him. And I want to say at that time is when I lost faith. Because you see a 1-year-old child, when I went to Sears to go pick up his picture that we had taken for his 1-year birthday, I picked it up to use it for his funeral. So you start to lose faith because you blame God, right? Without having the understanding of life. I'm 16 or 17, he's an angel, right? And then he's gone. So you have to point fingers at someone. So I think that's what kind of ended my relationship with God. From to other thing, it took a long time to transition to other things because I was brought up by my grandparents as well. It's something that's out of the question. The first time I was introduced to any substance, it was when I got into a motorcycle accident. The doctors prescribed me the 512 milligrams, and that was my first introduction ever to anything beyond that. I think when I had tried but I never even tried. And you know, it's kind of like the common thing that 14, 15, 16-year-old kind of have their first experience with. But mine was, you know, there's so much names for it. Oh, I wasn't able to walk for 6 months, so I was prescribed it the whole time, and it felt really good. The details around the motorcycle accident was I was on vacation. I went back home to Cape Verde, and I had just learned to ride motorcycles. I was going one direction, and the car was coming the same direction. I went to go not hit him, he did the same thing. And when I kind of went back, I went for the jump, and then my right foot hit the light of the car. Now the car had been traveling in the night for a long time, so the light was really hot. So I cut 2 tendons, I broke a bone or 2. And I was in Cape Verde. Medical there is not the best like we have here in our country, America. So they performed surgery there, and they put something on my leg, and then 3 weeks in, when they removed the thing, my feet just fell. It's just skin that's connecting I went to a specialist in a different island, and he told me if there's any way I could go to a foreign country. I said, I'm an American citizen. She said, get out of here. And then when I came back to America, they performed surgery, and then that's how I got introduced to the use of took a while to become from the first introduction from the motorcycle accident. I think a few years after, it didn't continue from the scripts, but after the scripts ran off, the manipulation started to where you figure things out. And I don't believe America had the knowledge on opiates then that we have today. Today, for you to get from a doctor, you have a better luck winning the lottery, right? Then you would go to the ER. You could complain about a back pain. A doctor can't see pain, and I'm a good actor. So since a doctor can't see pain, you go and you get about 15 of the 5 milligrams from the ER. And then that went on for a while. And then eventually you start to figure more things out. And then you go deeper and deeper into things, and tolerance gets built up. 5 milligram no longer does for me what it did when I first got introduced to it. I've never seen manipulation in myself prior to being introduced to. Stop being a choice when you wake up with withdrawals. The first few withdrawals I caught from, I didn't know I was withdrawing. I remember one time I wanted to go back to Cape Verde to vacation. I said, I'm not gonna bring these stupid pills. I'm on the island, it's the festival season, so there's something to do all the time, every day of the hour. And I would get these cold sweats, these diarrhea, and I'm thinking I drank the tap water, so that's why I messed up my system. And that lasted for like 7 days. And then you come back to America, and then you go back to it, and then your body starts to figure out. First you think you got the cold, like a bad flu, or almost like food poisoning mixed with a bad flu, and then you start to figure out, and then you take the pill, all that thing is gone. No more runny nose, no more cold sweats, no more diarrhea. You have energy like Superman. The first 2 or 3 times I had no knowledge of withdrawals. I just thought I caught a bad flu. Where I went from is basically America started to figure out that they're in trouble, that Purdue Pharma has caused problem in their country. And I don't think the damages that was caused from Purdue Pharma, America has ever dealt with something like that. So first thing first, cut down. Was no longer that easy to get once the feds came down and cracked on everything. So what ends up happening is that creates a black market. At this point, you're dealing with people that are selling to you, and one day they just give you something. It looks identical to the things that you've been getting from them prior. One day, the first time I took it, I started throwing up. My body kind of rejected it. It was super strong. But after the throw up, you get this, it's almost as if like it was the first time I got it. You take another one, body rejects it again. And then come to find out, that's how I got introduced through counterfeit pills. So I'm not some guy that went and like, that looks appealing. Someone nodding in the middle of the street. I want that. No. And I think, if I could take an educated guess, I think 95% of people that's on today is by accident. That's just an educated guess. Because I talk to a lot of people. It's almost we got tricked. The black market creates greed, and here we are. I also have a hypothesis. I have a hypothesis on in America. I feel like China plays the long game. I feel like China hasn't forgot what America did to them. And then you look at the people that's bringing in, they also hate American law. So I feel like China and those that are bringing in are in bed, and it's a weapon of war. That's my hypothesis. I don't have any facts to back it up. It's just a thought, don't quote me. It's an opinion. Because you know how many future soldiers are strung out on. Do you know how many future doctors, people that could have been lawyers, engineers, that are strung out on. So for me, I definitely believe it's a weapon of war. Stripped me from everything. I had no drive. If you gave me in a pack and you left me in a corner, I don't have to move. All I have to do is go in the bag, sniff, light up, and get the nod. And I am in heaven. The nod meaning you're on a super, and it feels so good that you're nodding. It's like whatever God means to you, when you're in that nod, he's touching you. I was a married man, stripped me from that. I'm divorced today. I just came back from Atlanta, and because of my sobriety, when I go around family now, I always somehow find it to be the center of topic. And you look at your family speak about how worried they was that they was gonna lose you. My sister Nancy told me over the weekend that she thought she was gonna lose her brother. Us addicts, right? We have a solution. We could go into a rehab, we could go to detox, we talk to therapists, and we kind of work through all that trauma that we had from addiction. The family members really don't have a solution. They have to live with that trauma. And the only way I could continue giving them peace is to stay sober today. Because I can't even begin to imagine what it is to look at a person that you love, that you raised, and see them poison themselves daily. And you know, fentanyl, there's nothing pretty about it. When you turn on the news, it's killing people. When you turn on the news, people's in the middle of the street just on a sick one. There's nothing appealing about it. There's nothing that could give a family hope. So you try to be hope in sobriety, so you no longer have to put your family members to such pain. I believe family members are for sure powerless over their loved one's addiction. And it doesn't matter what addiction, right? I'm gonna speak personally on comes through and becomes your God. And there's nothing the person that birthed you can do. There's nothing a person that raised you could do. Sobriety only begins when that person is done. And for a person that has never indulged in any form of, they probably ask themselves, what is this thing? Why can't you just stop? A man in the desert, try to tell him to go through the desert without water. It becomes our water. It's our survivor. It's our everything. It's our love. It's always there. At my peak addiction, my life looked terrible. I lived with my uncle Chalet. He had a 1-bedroom apartment, and him, his wife, and a child. And there was a twin-size mattress, and I put it in the living room, and it was a rat race. You get you're okay. You sit there and watch documentary thinking you're educating yourself. You have no relationship with no one. Your only relationship is with the dealer and the you don't eat, you don't have a lot of bathroom movements. You are isolated, you are alone, but you have everything in that bag. So you feel like you need no one. Phone rings, if it's not the dealer, you don't care. You're not leaving if you're not going to meet the dealer. Smoking back to back, never mind shower. I had beef with water. I could go a week, maybe 10 days without taking a shower. You have no dreams. The only dream you have is your next. My rock bottom is with my son right next to me, and he goes to my uncle and he says, why is my father always like this? My son is my world. I justified my use because I was still in his life. And he's there watching television, and I'm there watching documentary on my phone, strung out. Because I was physically next to him, I justified my use. But in the moment you look at this child, what life is he gonna have with a father like me? And then my uncle came and spoke to me, the bishop. You know, when my uncle speak, for me, it's as if God is speaking. And he spoke to me, and 2 weeks later, I left Brockton. He set up stuff for me in Phoenix, Arizona. I went. The place in Phoenix, Arizona that my uncle set up for me was just not a good fit for me. I lasted about 4 or 5 days there, but then I came to California. But my uncle planted that seed. It was because of my uncle that my journey began. My definition of strength today is just like it was when I was in the hospital with my brother. Because when I was in the hospital, I spoke about a relationship with God. Through sobriety, I found a relationship with God again. So me and homie upstairs, we good. So as long as I'm good with him, I'ma feel strong each and every day. My sobriety journey started with me landing in Los Angeles. Had never been to LA before. And me lying to my best friend June and his wife Chanel that I'm okay. It took June about 24 hours to find out that I'm strung out on beyond his understanding. And I went to go stay with my cousin Anika. It took her 3 days to find out that something is wrong with me. And together, they was in the back end working. I didn't know this. Anika and Chanel was in the back end working, and June is just trying to protect his best friend image. And you know, when a person's never dealt with something like this, they kind of have no direction. But June had met someone 6 months or a year prior to me coming to California, and he remembered that person had been sober for 30-something years. Reached out to this person, told him my situation. The person said, bring him over here. When I went to go meet this guy, it's as if you've been in China for 10 years and you don't understand Chinese, and no one around you spoke English for 10 years, so you're just in existence. And then boom, someone came to you and tapped you in a language that you understand and said, hello, how you doing? This man, Gil, spoke to me in a language that I understood. It's a man that had gone through what I was currently going through. So from that day, I took direction from him thoroughly. I went into detox for 4 days, and then he placed me in a place called Chabad Treatment Center in Miracle Mile. It's a phenomenal Jewish program. They take all walks of life. And it's a 3 to 4 months inpatient. And that's where my journey began. In there. A lot of nights I cried myself to sleep. Because with the you numb everything. I had got a divorce 3 years prior. I came to cry about my divorce when I was in rehab. I came to cry about some of the things I've done to my family members. Because when there's no more substance, the feelings come back. The memory comes back. You have to look at yourself. You have to see what type of person you became because of the substance. I like to say I had a bird's eye view of the man I was off of the on and just my whole life. And I have to look at that. And I have to ask myself, do I want to go back to being that guy? It's so much easier to just pick up again. So for parents, for family that ask themselves, why can my loved one or why can my son or my daughter just stop after they stopped? It's not that easy. If it was, I would have never picked up, or I would have stopped the first time I stopped. It's deeper than a loved person can understand. I had been using for over 10 years. Deep addiction, maybe 6. The last 4 years of it, or the last 3. I no longer feel ashamed of my past. It's as if you're learning to dance, right? And you keep screwing up and people keep laughing at you. But then you master the dance and now they cheer you, right? I cheer myself because the person I am today is day and night from the man I was in active use. If I could sit here with the old Pretty or the Pretty that was using, it's all fake. The feeling that you are getting from this substance is fake. And the withdrawals shall pass. And in sobriety, you're gonna have an amazing life. Because my biggest fear of going into sobriety was the withdrawal. People that's never gone to it, I can't even begin to put into words to let a person begin to understand the pain, the misery, the way you want to crawl out of your skin, the way you just can stop it with just relapsing. I had to stop the withdrawals a few times because I just couldn't, my body couldn't handle the withdrawal. It's as if someone's performing surgery on you with no Novocaine. It's brutal. I would just tell that version of me it's gonna be okay. You're gonna get to a place in life that you're no longer gonna need that poison. I'm a living testimony to sobriety. I'm sober 4 years and 8 months. Before, I was not able to go 2 hours without another hit. There's a lot of 2 hours in 4 years and 8 months. And that's all because of the relationship I have with homie upstairs. People always ask me if I'm healed. I'm not done in the world. I will never be healed. But I live in a solution daily. I maintain this sobriety daily. I never tell people I'm never gonna get high again, I'm never gonna drink again. Who knows what never looks like? I just tell people, or I tell myself, for example, today, I know for a fact I'm gonna make it home sober. Tomorrow I'll try again. And as long as me and homie upstairs is good, he's gonna get me through whatever challenges comes my way, and I'll get through it. What helped me stay grounded is my relationship with God and not forgetting my low point. Because it is so easy for you to forget how bad things was. I've seen people go out because their finances got in order, the relationship came back. So I could just have a drink, right? I'm a no mind altering substance. So not a drink, not a hit, not a out of nothing, right? Because once I see anything that alter my mind, I know that's the beginning of me on that mattress again. So I just stay away from it. Easier said than done, of course. For those that are watching in deep addiction with so much pain and just afraid of this other side, withdrawal hasn't anyone. It's as if you're going to a new place, new island, and you're on a flight. The turbulence is so crazy that you feel like it's better to jump out of the plane. But it shall pass, and you will get to a place of complete peace. You just have to take the first step. As long as you take that first step and stay on that road and not give up, you will get to a place of a person that no longer needs that substance.